We're starting now with some breaking news from the State House. The state's top accountant is resigning after a $3.5 billion error going back years was made public. Comptroller General Richard Ekstrom sent a letter to Governor McMaster's office announcing his resignation would go into effect on April 30th. Now, this comes after several lawmakers called for him to be impeached over this accounting error. It happened when his agency switched to a new accounting system over 10 years ago. His office then overstated the state's cash reserves by $3.5 billion with a B dollars. The error wasn't caught until October of last year. There's also a bill to make the Comptroller General an appointed position instead of elected. Ekstrom says he supports this.